All right. Got to start it off like that every time, I guess. Welcome in, everyone. As you guys can tell, I have a little bit of an upgrade. I've had a camera laying around. I was just too lazy to use it and set it up with my computer, but did all the work to get it set up. So today and going forward, maybe, I'll have this on for you guys, give you guys a nicer picture to look at. But yeah, welcome in, everyone. Since we are finally on episode 10, that means it has been 10 weeks of me doing this shit. To stretch my vocal cords this week, I want to get a little bit personal with you guys. So you can consider this the intro segment. What was this week's episode supposed to be, and what did it materialize into? Really, what I'm recording right now is just all a last second pivot. This week's episode was supposed to be my first episode where I have a special guest appearance. So I was supposed to have a guest for you guys today. It pains me to scrap it, but that's all a part of the content creating process. The idea of learning to be adaptable, and I'm trying to learn that as I go. I'm only on episode 10, so we still got a lot to learn. We still got a lot to prove. We still got a lot to do, but we just got to learn to be adaptable. But I have a question and an answer to pose for you guys. What are the actions, or should I say, what actions give us an indicator for who we truly are? I have an answer. What are you doing when no one is watching? The answer to that question will tell you all you need to know about yourself. At the end of the day, if your friend truly loves you, they'll value your time like it is their own. If your friend truly loves you, they won't invalidate the way you feel about something. If they hurt you, then turn around and act like you are supposed to be okay with it. That to me is not okay. All right, rant over. Sorry for all that, but I needed to get some things off my mind. Hopefully I did not lose any of you lovely listeners and viewers of mine. Beautiful people out there. All right, transitioning in from the intro, what is the first thing that I'd like to talk about today? The first thing I'd like to talk about is what Microsoft can do with Activision, or Activision Blizzard King ABK. I'm convinced Xbox doesn't even know the endless possibilities. I'm convinced that they don't even know what they could really even do with them. But, I have some ideas, so I'll throw them out there. This segment is going to be divided into a couple sections. What can they do and what they probably will do. Let's start off with what they probably will do. I have 3 things listed here. They probably will bring in all the ABK games from the back catalog into Games Pass. So this is the Tony Hawk remakes, the Crash and Spyro remakes, all the old 360 all the older 360 and early Xbox One Call of Duty titles, and any one-offs that they made like Singularity and all of that. So I think this is going to bring all those games into Games Pass. Maybe they'll trickle them in, or they'll just put them out all on the spot. We'll see, but I'm pretty sure they're probably coming. Since Sekiro is an Activision title, I assume that game will also come to Games Pass, and I assume that Microsoft will want to do some sort of improvement for it for being on Xbox. Maybe they'll boost the resolution. Maybe they'll give it an Xbox Series X and S update. We'll see, but Sekiro is definitely coming to Games Pass. Microsoft already fixed the back-end server problems for the old Call of Duty, so the online infrastructure works for them. So, if you have any of your old 360 MW2 discs, or MW1 or Modern Warfare or World at War, if you have any of those discs and you have a Series X, you can just plop those discs in and you can play the games like straight up, and you can jump into online matches. So that's why I say Microsoft had already fixed the back-end server problems. But I assume that this move was done in advance to prepare these games to come into Games Pass. They will probably also give incentives for PC Games Pass players to try or even play Blizzard PC only titles such as World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and StarCraft. There might be some more, but those are the ones that I remember from the top of my head. If they bring the old Call of Duty games on Games Pass, it will definitely bring more eyes on the Xbox ecosystem. Because personally, I know that a lot of people have nostalgia for the older Call of Duty titles, like the old MW2, MW3, World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, and all them. So I feel like this will bring in a lot of eyes to Xbox specifically because I think the servers are only working on Xbox. All right, now for what they can do. The first thing I have listed here, obviously, what they can do, the biggest thing they can do is make brand new Crash and Spyro games and kind of treat them like they're Xbox's mascots in a way. Because people do still know and recognize Spyro and Crash, so they should utilize that. It's an advantage for them. Another thing they could do, fix the netcode and the online infrastructure for Crash Team Racing, the remake specifically. They could also update the game to run in 60 FPS on current consoles, so the PS5, Series X, and S. Probably will come out on the next Switch. The PC version, I don't think there's a Steam version, so they could launch a Steam version. In turns, this will probably make this the true Mario Kart competitor, because Mario Kart really doesn't have a competitor in the racing space. That's why so many people go out and buy it. I think Microsoft should capitalize on that. What else can they do? They can kill the annual Call of Duty cycle and release the games every other year, making for a better product and end the consumer COD fatigue. This will also let other games take the spotlight in the year that the COD is not dropping. Most years, COD drops in November or October. So if a Call of Duty is not dropping that year in November or October, that will bring a lot of eyes to the games that are. For the casual people out there, you know, yes, Call of Duty is the big main title that's dropping this November, but there is a few other titles that are dropping too. So, you know, keep an eye on that. But, you know, if Call of Duty wasn't dropping this September, if Call of Duty wasn't dropping this November, then I feel like more eyes would be on the other games. And that not only benefits Microsoft and its games that they have, but it benefits the industry because it'll possibly give games that don't have a big platform more eyes. And last thing I want to say is shout out to Jess for that one, because he was the first person I heard to say oh, they could really kill the COD annual cycle. You know, get the developers that don't want to make Call of Duty off of Call of Duty and onto projects that they want to make. I feel like that's the end goal for Xbox with Activision specifically. And if they achieve that, then I think that puts themselves in a great position to win, because I think that will not only bring in more games for Games Pass, but it'll bring in more inspired efforts out of developers. And it'll give us more, 10 to 15 hour games, and I feel like we all want that, The main thing that I've noticed that Games Pass is bringing for me in the single player aspect is it is bringing me more of those AA type games, more of those, 10 to 15, typically $30, $40 type games. It's giving me more of those and making me not have to spend the money on it. I could just download it, enjoy it, delete it, move on, And if I download it and I don't enjoy it, that's not looming over my shoulders. I can just delete the game and move on. I think that's beautiful. Lowering the barriers of gaming. But since I mentioned Sekiro earlier and the fact that they'll probably bring it to Games Pass, let's talk about it a little bit. Sekiro just sold 10 million units, and that's an amazing accomplishment, knowing the fact that Sekiro is probably the least accessible FromSoft game. In my eyes, Sekiro is From Software's take on a character action game. In character action games, the main goal is to wail at enemies, rack up combos, and launch special attacks. Typically, these games, CAG, I have it abbreviated as character action games, gives you a predetermined set of weapons and rules. This is where FromSoft puts its own spin on the genre. They do give you a predetermined set of weapons and rules, but the combos in Sekiro are the deflections and the fatal blows are the special attacks. The game wants you to play it in one specific way. You know, in Bloodborne, in Dark Souls, dodging is the key to success. But in Sekiro, the success is through comboing the deflections and the counters. Sekiro is a very special game in my eyes. It's just as influential as Dark Souls and Bloodborne. But me personally, I have yet to finish a FromSoft game yet, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. And my stomach's growling. Ah, fuck. I always do this on an empty stomach for no reason. But it's because, you know, I spend so much time working on it, and then I just start and I just forget to feed myself. So it's just wild. But yeah, I have yet to finish a FromSoft game, so I can say the ones that I've played. I've played Bloodborne. I've played Sekiro. I've played the Demon Souls remake, and I've played Elden Ring. So those are all the FromSoft games I've played. The game I probably got the furthest in was Sekiro. But this game is also a game that I restarted multiple times, because when you go back to it, it's kind of hard to pick it back up and be like, oh, this is what I was doing, this is what's going on. You just kind of forget. So it's kind of like a hard game to drop and come back to, because when you do that, you just kind of have to start it over. Yeah, it's a special game. I definitely recommend it to you guys. In my opinion, it's FromSoft's best game. Period. But it's because I love character action games, and I think that Sekiro is FromSoft's take on a character action game. And this takes us to our next segment. What have I been up to? So just a little bit of intimacy with the avatar, you know, just telling y'all the stuff that I've been up to. So I've been playing a few games. I've been working hard, so I haven't had a lot of time to play, but I've been dipping if I have an hour or so here or 2 hours here, I'll play a little bit. I'll dip into something. So to start off, I've been playing Sea of Stars. Of course, I've still been playing this. I haven't dropped it. I have talked about Sea of Stars in another episode. Combat is still fun. I'm at a point where I have 4 party members now, and the game is actually the story is picking up. It's getting pretty interesting. Still really fun. It's still really challenging. Like I said, I think in the beginning of the game makes a joke like, oh, if you don't get it, if you don't get the action, if you don't get the combat, it's okay. Just, you know, roll with the punches. But you really got to understand when to press A or parry the enemy's hits and when to press A on your own attacks, because it does really help out if you can nail the timing on that. The game's fun. The game is hard. I got 4 party members. I don't know them. I don't know my level. I think I'm about 10 hours into the game. Next game I'm talking about, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So I did start this game a month ago, but I completely forgot to mention that I played it. But I've been playing Tiny Tina's. I got it on sale for like $18. This is a game I'm playing on my PlayStation, so I needed something to play on there. So I said, might as well get this physically for it. It's Borderlands. It's Borderlands with the magical D&D twist. Instead of it being called D&D, it's called Bunkers and Badasses. And yeah, it's pretty much Borderlands with spells and stuff like that. It's fun time. The story is way better than 3. Really enjoying it. Gameplay is fun. Side note, I think Gearbox would make a pretty competent Halo game in Unreal if they were given the opportunity to make one. So I think in that aspect, Microsoft should maybe look at acquiring them. But that is a side note. But yeah, that's Tiny Tina Wonderlands. First person shooter fair. Pretty good. Pretty fun. Lies of P. I've only got to the first real boss battle of the game. I only completed it. I died maybe 8 or 9 times on it, so I did die quite a bit. It was pretty challenging playing it on my PC. So this is a game I'm playing on my PC. Trying to cross all my I's, dot all my T's, you feel me? I want to play shit on everything. But I'm playing Lies of P on my PC. It runs really well, surprisingly. I'm running the game in 4K. DLSS, of course, so I think it's upscaling it from 1440p, which is perfectly fine. Looks good. Running at 120, the highest. The lowest I get is like 80, 90 FPS. Pretty solid game. Runs well. Hard. It's pretty much a spiritual successor to Bloodborne. That's how I see it, and I'm pretty sure that's how people are also seeing it out there. So that's not like a take that's only for me. I'm pretty sure other people are also saying that too. It's fun. Played the first boss. Did my first lie. Timothy Chalamet, we out here. Exoprimal. I think this is the first time I'm talking about this game too. Dinosaur hunting game. You work as a team to fight through hordes of dinosaurs. And at the end, you can either get into a PvP match where you're kind of playing this Overwatch type game mode where you're escorting a cube, or you're playing like a domination game mode where you're securing objectives. But if it's PvP, the other team is fighting you, and vice versa. If it's PvE, then it's you fighting against the dinosaurs and completing the objectives faster than the other team. So in this aspect, it is kind of like, it is pretty innovative in my eyes, because I don't know what other game is kind of doing like first half PvE, second half PvP, like type thing. Like it's a mixture of multiple different types of games, and it's a really fun game to just zone out to and just play with your friends and stuff. Shout out to Games Pass. Damn, I'm getting really hungry, so I think it's about time to wrap up this episode. I have here listed work, gym, food. I don't want to talk about food. I'm hungry. Work is work. Gym. You know, I did go to the gym today. I had like a ab day plus cardio. And my cardio today, I ran a mile. And surprisingly, I wasn't fatigued at the end of the mile. So I think that my stamina is improving. Did the sauna, of course, afterwards. Came home, wrote, and I'm here. That's the gym. I've been trying to just be consistent with it, you know. Time, effort, execution. If you put those 3 things into the things that you love, the outcome will not disappoint you. And that's me also manifesting for myself. In life, you know, life is a grind. But in the previous episodes of The Garden, you can hear me give my take on Aubrey and why he is not all that good. To keep it short with you, Aubrey is the salt and pepper of the rap industry. In my eyes, he's an actor playing the role of a rapper. So it is really baffling to me that people out here really think he is the greatest of all time. Because he doesn't even love this shit. He's just doing it for the fame, money, and attention it brings him. And also, there is no objectivity in this question. The answer to this question is subjective to you and me. So here's the question. Is Aubrey the greatest rapper of all time? Short answer, no. Another question you can ask is, who is the greatest rapper of all time? The long answer. Kanye has spent his whole career as an artist serving people first and then serving himself second. He launched and perpetuated the careers of so many artists and singers and songwriters and producers. Kendrick spent years of his career putting his heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears on each album, and then he still asks himself if he put enough work in. He perfected his craft, poured himself into his art, and he still contemplates if he did enough. J. Cole spent a whole career reaching out to the souls of the lost, trying to guide them to a better existence while also building a label to provide good music for generations after him. Objectively and subjectively, what has Drake done to really earn being the GOAT? That's all I have on this episode of Subeg's Garden. I just really want to emphasize the fact that, I do everything here on my own. I don't want to say that to feel sorry for myself, ask for sympathy. I do it more so because I'm genuinely proud of the heart and soul I pour into this. And if Tyler can do everything, then why can't I? I do not want people to look at me with envy or hate. I want people to see what I do and be inspired by it. Inspiration unlocks the future at the end of the day. I have some very special episodes and guests planned, so stay tuned. But since we've gotten 10 weeks into doing this, I'm offering a personal invite to any of you listening. If you'd like to appear as a guest in the garden, shoot me a text, DM me on any of my social, and we'll work things out. Thank you guys for all your love and support. Likes, shares, the subs, retweets, follows, DMs, comments, whatever you guys give to me, I'll give y'all back tenfold. I hold myself accountable to this. If you want to be on the garden, let me know. I got you. We'll plan something out. And I want this to be an inclusive place. I want more and more people to come here if they want to. Because like I said, this is just as much about me as it is about you guys and the environment around me and the things that I love. Because at the end of the day, those are the things that keep us going. If you got to the end of this episode, I appreciate you. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you guys tune in next week. I got some special things planned. I am hoping to have my first guest on the show next week for sure. So stay tuned. Shout out to my one sole patron, Selena. If you guys would like to follow me on Patreon, you guys can. Just look me up. I'm at Subegles on Patreon. I'm at Subegles on YouTube. I'm at Subeg Dollywall on Twitter and Instagram. I also have a Subegles profile on Instagram. So if you'd like to check me out, just type in Subegles. You'll find me. Have a good one. Peace.